Welcome back to Unknown Fortunes. I'm your host, James. You don't know his name. But right now, somewhere in your home, there's probably something he created. A screw, a bolt, a fastener keeping something together. On Unknown Fortunes, we investigate billionaires nobody knows about. And today, we're talking about a man who built a $33.6 billion empire selling fasteners. His name is Reinhold Würth. It's 1952. Reinhold Würth is 24 years old. His father has just passed away, leaving him a struggling fastener trading company. 2 employees. 80,000 euros in annual revenue. 1 garage. Most people would have closed the business. Reinhold saw an opportunity. He made a radical decision. Instead of waiting for customers to come, he would go to them. He visited construction sites. He visited factories. He understood what they needed before they knew it themselves. His first customer wasn't easy. In post-war Germany, fasteners were commodity products. No differentiation, no brand loyalty. But Würth offered something different: service, reliability, and a promise if you need something, I'll find it for you. By 1955, just 3 years later, Würth had grown to 50 employees. His revenue had doubled. But Reinhold wasn't satisfied. He was just getting started. While other fastener companies were sitting back, content with their market share, Würth invented a system. He created a direct sales force that operated like a military operation, organized, disciplined, unstoppable. Every salesman carried a catalog. Every salesman knew the customer. Every salesman could solve a problem on the spot. This wasn't revolutionary. This was just obsessively good customer service. By the 1960s, Würth had built the first modern factory, not just a warehouse, a real manufacturing and distribution center with 500 employees, and he was just starting to expand internationally. The key insight: standardization. If every customer problem was the same, why not create a standard solution? Würth began cataloging every possible fastener type, every size, every specification, and made them available in every location. In 1970, Würth made his first international move. He opened in France, not because it was the biggest market, but because it was next door, close enough to control, far enough to prove the model worked elsewhere. Within 5 years, Würth had operations in Germany, France, Belgium, Austria, and the Netherlands. By 1980, he had 5,000 employees across Europe. His annual revenue was approaching $500 million. Let me put this in perspective. In 1952, Würth had 80,000 euros in revenue. By 1980, that number was $500 million. That's a 6,250x increase in 28 years. Not 100x, not 1,000x, but 6,250x. Even more impressive, he did this in a commodity market, not in technology, not in software, not in anything sexy. He did it by selling bolts. In 1984, Würth did something bold. He entered the United States market, not because it was easy, but because it was massive. 300 million people, thousands of construction companies, millions of repair shops. He bought a company called Ackery, small operation, losing money. But Würth saw the potential. He applied his system: direct sales, standardization, obsessive customer service. Within 10 years, Würth USA was generating billions in revenue. By 1990, Würth Group was generating $2 billion in annual revenue. Würth himself was a billionaire. But here's the thing, he never went public. He never sold stock. He never diluted his ownership. Every dollar of profit went back into the business. Compound growth. That's the secret. Not making a huge amount once, but making a good amount again and again and again for 40 plus years. By 2000, Würth operated in 80 countries, 50,000 employees, $5 billion in annual revenue. But Reinhold didn't retire. He was 72 years old. Most billionaires would be on a yacht somewhere. Not Reinhold. He was in the office every day, making decisions, pushing for more efficiency, more innovation, more growth, because that's who he was. Not a businessman who wanted to get rich, but someone who wanted to build something. Würth had a principle: sell what the customer needs, not what you have. Most companies do the opposite. They create a product and then convince people to buy it. Würth listened. He understood. He provided. This simple principle made him unbeatable. Because in the fastener business, everyone knew the products. The difference was service. And Würth was obsessively better at service. In the 2000s, the industry started digitalizing. E-commerce was becoming real. Younger competitors started selling fasteners online. Würth could have been disrupted. But Reinhold understood something that most people didn't. Digital wasn't the found enemy. Digital was just another way to serve customers. He invested billions into technology, modernized his entire supply chain, created an online platform that was actually useful. By 2010, Würth's online sales were growing faster than their offline sales. They weren't disrupted, they evolved. By 2018, Würth Group had 80,000 employees across 125 plus countries. Annual revenue, $20 billion. And Reinhold Würth's personal net worth, $33.6 billion. Forbes ranked him among the top 30 richest people in the world. Remember, in 1952, he started with 80,000 euros. In 66 years, he turned it into a $33.6 billion fortune. That's wealth multiplication of 420,000x. So why doesn't everyone know Reinhold Würth? Why isn't he as famous as Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs? Because he wasn't in a sexy industry. He sold fasteners. Not iPhones, not social media, not rockets. But his impact was just as massive, maybe even larger. Because every building, every bridge, every car, every machine uses fasteners. He was too busy building to care about fame. Here's what made Würth actually different. 3 principles. First, direct sales. Not wholesalers, not distributors, direct to customer. This meant he understood the customer better than anyone. Second, standardization. Same products, same service, same quality, everywhere. This meant he could scale without sacrificing quality. Third, reinvestment. Every profit went back into the business. Not dividends. Not buybacks. Just relentless expansion and improvement. The fascinating thing is that nobody could copy what Würth did, because it wasn't a product, it wasn't technology, it was a culture, a system, a way of thinking about business. You could copy the catalogs, you could copy the distribution centers, you could copy the sales training, but you couldn't copy the obsession. You couldn't copy the decades of experience. You couldn't copy the relationships with hundreds of thousands of customers. What can we learn from Reinhold Würth? First, pick a market that's boring and necessary. Not exciting, just necessary. Because boring means less competition, and necessary means consistent demand. Second, build a system that's scalable, not dependent on you, not dependent on one person. A system that works the same whether there's 50 employees or 80,000. Third, obsess over customer satisfaction. Not just satisfaction, but obsessive. Continuous improvement satisfaction. Always asking, how can we do this better? Reinhold Würth died in 2019 at age 90, but his company didn't die with him. Because he built a system that lasted. Not a personality cult, not a one-man show, but an institution. Today, Würth Group is still family-owned, still private, still expanding, with no signs of slowing down. It's one of the few companies in the world that's bigger than it was 10 years ago in almost every metric. Here's what blows my mind. Würth started with the same opportunities as thousands of other people in post-war Germany. Same time, same place, same market. But he saw something others didn't. He understood that in a commodity, the winner isn't determined by product, it's determined by service. Most billionaires get there by being first, by inventing something, by disrupting an industry. Würth did none of that. He got there by being the best, by doing the boring thing better than anyone else. Let's break down the actual math of what happened. In 1952, Würth had 80,000 euros in revenue. If he grew at just 15% per year for 66 years, where would he end up? Let me calculate. 15% per year for 66 years. That's $33.6 billion. That's not genius-level growth. That's just consistent, patient, boring growth. Year after year, decade after decade. That's the power of compound growth. Here's what Reinhold Würth never did. He never appeared on magazine covers. He never did a TED Talk. He never wrote a best-selling book. He never started a cryptocurrency. He never went on reality TV. He just built a company for 66 years, obsessively, consistently, unremarkably. And by doing that, he became one of the richest people in the world. The reason you don't know about Reinhold Würth is the same reason you know about Elon Musk. Because Elon is constantly in the news. Constantly innovating, constantly pushing boundaries. That gets media attention. But building a company steadily, not disrupting anything, just improving, year after year. That doesn't get headlines, but it does build wealth, real wealth, generational wealth. So that's the story of Reinhold Würth. From 80,000 euros to $33.6 billion. From 2 workers to 80,000. From 1 garage to 125 plus countries, all by doing one thing. Better than anyone else. And here's the crazy part. Nobody knows who he is. That's the story of unknown fortunes. Billionaires you've never heard of. Building empires you've never noticed. On products you use every day. If you want to discover more of these hidden fortunes, subscribe to Unknown Fortunes. We investigate billionaires the mainstream media ignores. New episodes every week. Thanks for watching. I'm James, and I'll see you on the next Unknown Fortune.